Charlotte Soccer Show, Danny Brams and Matt Geslin here, rocking with you for a World Cup banter edition of the show. Johnny Hayes is in transit, so we left him out of this one. We love you, John. Hope you're doing good. But we're here to talk World Cup. The plan is to be here every day of the World Cup. We're long, but I've been getting up the World Cup fantasy pool up and running, doing a lot of data entry for that. So that's been kind of holding me up today as I fill out all this crazy spreadsheet. If you look, spreadsheet, if you can see it there, I had to put in all these names. I still got a bunch of formatting to do, but props to everyone. We turned out with 41 participants, which is a new record for the pool, which I feel very good about. And this one's in, so we got to love that. I do want to point this out pool in a minute. My payments tab here on the pool, and you'll notice everyone is paid except for our guy Matt Geslin. What happened there? We don't know. We don't know. The whole pool is paid up. We're going to give you a grace period, guys. We're going to give you a little bit of a grace period and see where we
appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I don't pay. I play the pool for free. I don't take a cut out of the prize money. I give all the prize money back to the people, but I do get my entry for free. So that's how that works. We got a couple of folks. I need captains from Evan Athanasiou and Jess Charman. Please put your captains. Email those to me, and I'll email this information also. And then Andrew Coleman and David Carey, they only have given me picks for the first 2 days, so you guys got a few hours left in your grace period to fill out the rest of your rosters. But let's talk first about the game itself. Qatar, Ecuador, 2-0.
It's here. Yeah.
What a match. The World was here. I was watching the game today with a first-timer, never got the World Cup before. She was saying that I was trying to tell her, I was like, the World Cup, even though it's a great event and the spectacle, it's a slow start. It ramps up. It's kind of sleepy. There's always one game on the first day. It's the host nation.
Yep.
And this was a sleepy game. What'd you think, Matt? I've been talking too much here.
No. I think to your point, and props to you for introducing a new member to the world of World Cup. And also a huge prop to you as well for entering all that data. Yep. What a just not numbing page turner that I just saw you just doing there. So on a Sunday, the day of the World Cup with football on, props to you for getting all that done, for setting all this up. Please, folks, get your captains in, your rosters in. I have to pay. So yes, luckily, you know where I live, so I'll take care of that. But yeah, the World Cup is here. It officially began.
I do it for the props, Matt. I just so you know, I'm only doing this for the props. So I
know. I'm totally aware that you have nothing else partake in, but just for the props. But no, we are finally here, Danny Brams. We have football on the pitch. It has been quite the buildup, as we've all, have been aware of, and I feel like it's just been one of those consumption of just negative news around this tournament, and finally we can put that to bed. Although it looked kind of ominous the first couple minutes of the game that maybe something was astray, but luckily the situation turned out to be correct, and away we went for a really boring game.
Are you talking about AR?
I am talking about VAR. Quite the opening situation 3 minutes in, and for those that maybe weren't paying attention, there was controversy about potential bribery between these two, a lot of buildup here. So, I think a lot of folks naturally just went to, hey, this is how FIFA got away with that one. But
yeah, so there was a viral tweet a couple days ago that said, breaking news, 8 Ecuador players were bribed to lose the match to Qatar. I think that turned out to be just like an online troll who was doing it just 100%. To get people, see how many like mainstream news organizations would pick it up, which a few people did. I think it was actually a real news story per se. However, it's not believable, right?
Right. it is believable with everything that's been going on.
That makes 100%. Makes sense. Yeah,
and I think back to your question about
there
the
was
game,
no scores, an early goal, a nice goal, a bicycle kick assist.
Just a great way to start the tournament, and VAR, rules it off 3 minutes in. Ultimately, maybe the most exciting moment of the game. Ecuador really just dominated this one from start to finish. The Qatar, you could tell, just was on a different level playing. Obviously, a lot of extra pressure being the host country, the first Arab country to host the World Cup, the first debut of an Arab country or Middle Eastern country since Saudi Arabia in 1994. A lot of pressure that was part of this moment for the Qatari national team, and you could see it. You really could. Ecuador definitely came out were the better team from start to finish. 2 great goals, 1 penalty to start it, right? Why not at this point in world football? So many penalties as well. And then a great header from Enner Valencia. That was just a strike of a head from a great ball in from the wing, and 2-0, rightfully so. Ecuador, very simple, move on to the next match, and really puts Qatar in a dire situation to advance out of this group, which would be only the second host nation to not advance out of the group. So really, really disappointing night for Qatar all around.
Yeah, South Africa in 22, the only host nation that didn't advance out of the group stage. And Qatar right now showed me absolutely nothing. Like, there's no reason to think that Qatar is going to look any better in the next couple matches. If you look, they play Holland and Senegal next.
2 tough matches.
I don't see them. Yeah, right now, the way that Qatar looked out there, it was like a goal would be like 1 goal in this entire tournament would have to be considered a victory. There's no way that this team has any chance to advance. If you look at the momentum meter over here on SofaScore, it's like 30-40 minutes of sustained, just like pure Ecuadorian possession in the first half, and then a late chance. There was a late chance.
There was a late chance.
Two good chances for Qatar. I felt. And they blew them both.
Yeah, and they would have changed the game. That one chance going into the half with the header from their
really nice cross,
all-time leading score.
For sure.
Exactly. Would he have been onside? Who knows? But at least they would have had, the ball would have been in the net. They would have had the place going crazy, at least for a moment, and just kind of shankopotamus, if you want to call it that, and really just kind of missed it. Went into the half, and then another chance right out of the break, and after that, it was really kind of not really much of an effort from the Qataris, unfortunately, and
this
it was just
this was the real
night.
good chance here. If you're looking on the screen share from Muntari in the 86th minute, when he just got it and he flat-footed the keeper, and what's his name, Galindez, and it could have gone in for sure. It would have just been a consolation at that point. And Ecuador kind of did let off. Ecuador struggled a little bit once Enner Valencia had to sub off in the 77th minute. He was like talismanic for Ecuador. He was doing everything. Like he Enner Valencia is a great player. He plays for Besiktas now, I think, in Turkey, but he's played in big time leagues. He's dominated Liga MX. This is a guy that can play anywhere in the world. So it was really interesting to see him just kind of get to do whatever he wanted out there against Qatar. And I don't know, did anyone on the Qatari side impress you at all? Make you think like these guys have a future going forward? Or
not particularly. Again, it's a tough group. We don't see these guys very often. They've played locally in Qatar as their club, and then also played for about 12 months together. So we don't really see these guys too often, and no one really flashed. Again, tough night. Could be a different night against Senegal or Netherlands coming up, but nothing that really drew you out there and said, okay, these guys can kind of give this a competition and give this a go. Contrast that with Ecuador, who stood out to me pretty strong, structured, obviously, again, a pretty weak opponent, but could give Senegal, especially without Sadio Mane, a real run for second place in this group. Who knows, could, that game against the Netherlands could be a massive fixture for them to advance and win the group potentially. They have some weapons, but yeah, no, I wouldn't take too much stock in this game for either team other than just how poor Qatar looked, but a lot more football to go ahead for both of these guys.
It was nice for Ecuador, obviously, to get a win. My big issue that I had a problem with was the lack of Alan Franco, just as a Charlotte FC fan, for the crown always. And I really thought Franco had a chance to start. He was projected as a starter by some websites and ended up getting just kind of a cameo substitution here right at the end in the they call it officially the 90th minute. He came in and passed the ball around, got a few looks. I need to see more Alan Franco out there. I didn't think Caicedo Moises Caicedo, he plays for Brighton in the Premier League. He's a solid player. Got much more pedigree than Franco, but I don't know. He didn't really impress me that much against Qatar. It's not like he really was able to do much. If we look at he was rated a 6.7 with the yellow card. And if you look at his heat map, there's just no attacking threat. I mean, I get that he's a central mid and that it's not his job to get in the box, but like this is just not really doing it for me in a match where you have that much possession and that much dominance. Let's get Alan Franco in there. Why not?
Yeah, and I mean a young kid, obviously, so good experience for him. Like you mentioned, a Brighton player, but I wasn't that impressed with him. I think Franco could have been in there and done just as much. And who knows? Maybe that is the future for the rest of this tournament. It's a long way to go. 3 points is a huge first step for any nation. I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but most nations that win their opening match have a pretty good chance of advancing. 3 points in a quick tournament like this is a big.
I think it's like 62 out of 3. Yeah,
it's pretty strong. Yeah. So a long way to go. Who knows?
I think if I remember the stat right, it's like 67%.
Yeah, so maybe some Franco time.
And they face Holland next. Ecuador, Senegal could be for advancement essentially because Senegal assume they lose to Holland with their lack of attacking threat and no Sadio Mane. So then Senegal plays Qatar next, and then Ecuador, Senegal are both sitting there on 3 points in the last match day on November 29th, the same day that U.S. plays England. Or no, actually, I'm sorry, I got that date wrong. Sorry. November 29th is the day after my birthday. Sorry, not the day after Thanksgiving. So
29th is against
hopefully you're doing your shopping for my birthday on the 28th. But it always comes back to me, Matt. You got to realize it always comes back to me.
Hey.
But yeah.
I'm just here.
So that's how things are looking in Group A. It's pretty much, by as scripted in Group A, as we would say in the TV business. I want to switch over to talk about the fan because that's why we're really, really here and why we're doing this stream is the World Cup fantasy player pool. It's what we're here for. If you look down the scroll at the bottom of the screen, let's just skip to the big reveal. Shout out to Jared Jackson, one of my fantasy soccer buddies. Goes by the name of Tugford in the fantasy world. If you ever saw him out there, and we played DraftKings and So Rare together. So of course it would be someone with some DraftKings experience who would come in here and win this on day one. I tried to give a lot of the people in this pool are joining because they love the World Cup, and I really appreciate all y'all. We got 41 people total, including myself, in for the whole project, and a lot of y'all are in here just because you love the World Cup. You're not maybe as familiar with the scoring system, which comes from DraftKings, which I had here on the spreadsheet for anybody that could have seen it. But crosses and like chances created are where you like rack up a lot of points outside of goals and assists in this game. So, but if you look at the scoreboard here, let's look at the national player scores. The biggest score of the day came from Enner Valencia, obviously with the 2 goals, 28 points. Goals worth 12 points. You get 10 for the goal and 2 for the shot on goal. So with 2 goals, he really only had 4 other points. I refer to those as floor points versus ceiling points. So ceiling points are goals and assists. Floor points are
2 goals
what you do for your in and out. So really, Gonzalo Plata, who was on corner kicks. Corner kicks are a great way to great pathway to points in this game in this scoring system. Plata was actually the best floor player on Ecuador with 8 floor points. He was taking the corners. Enner only had the 4, and he got hurt also.
Impressive.
We don't know
Plata.
What's that?
And Plata was pretty impressive throughout the game. If you were watching him, he flashed.
Yeah, I liked Plata. I liked Plata's game a lot. I think he is a solid player. I do think that the picks are interesting. 16 people. There's 41 people in the pool. 16, so more than a third have Moises Caicedo, and then 12, including myself, have Pervis Estupanian, who was not that great. But so that's 28 out of 41, almost 2/3 of the pool on these 2 guys. And with Pervis outscoring Moises by 3 or 4 points, that's some early edge for those of us in the Pervis camp. Only 2 people on Enner, and I think that's worth pointing out because obviously, if you said who's the best player in Venezuela, who's going to score the most points, anyone would have called Valencia for sure. He's on the PKs and whatnot. He scores the goals. That's where the big points come from. But only 2 people picked him because I think like the strategy, another tip that I gave people as they were, and people that have played this pool before that know, is like, you don't want to waste your forward and midfielder picks on teams that aren't going to go deep into the tournament, because that's where you get the big points in the knockout rounds. So it's a little dicey picking Enner, but it worked for Jared Jackson, who used his Enner pick, and then he also had, if we look, where's Jared here?
It's like picking that big upset in the first round of the NCAA tournament, right? It's kind of like that
exactly,
given one that you just get.
So Jared had Pedro Miguel and Enner Valencia. Pedro Miguel scored 4 and a quarter point, so he's at 32. The other person who had Enner was, if I can get there, was Andrew Kallman. So Kallman, you're on grace period, by the way. You have a couple hours to get your full roster in here. But he picked Enner, and then he also picked Almoez Ali, the Qatari forward, who really was bad. We'll show the Qatar scores in a minute, but 0.12. He just didn't get it done. He didn't do much. And so that pushed Jared ahead of Andrew on the 2 Enner owners.
Did he get points for that attempted shot with the head or no? Does that count?
I don't know exactly where the points were, but I will say this, and I'll say this over and over again. Not only do I allow you to double check me, I encourage you to double check me. So always double check everything is on the spreadsheet.
I'm just curious if they classify that.
I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you, and I'm talking about everybody that's in the pool.
Sure.
I will post the score sheet, the official score sheet. I'll just add tabs as the tournament goes on. So like everything should match up. So everybody's official scores are here on this day 1 score sheet tab. Then I move them over to the national player scores tab. I put everybody's national scores in, and then I move them over to the scoreboard tab. I put everybody's scores in for their players, and then finally I adjust the leaderboard. So that's kind of my process. You see, this is day 1 score sheet. There'll be a day 2 score sheet tomorrow with a lot more players on it because there's 3 games, I think, right?
3 games. Yep.
And then there's going to start to get where there's four games a day. Yeah. So
yeah, I
talking
the fact that you're willing to do that, I trust your math. I trust your ability. If there are folks, if there are folks that want to call you out, I will definitely let them do that. But I trust that you are making the moves all the way across.
What happens a lot of times is just copy paste errors. I'll admit, like I'm 100%. Trying to save time, and it's like, okay, I've got this one guy's score. Let me hit that score number into all of his squares of his usages, on the scoreboard page. And sometimes I make mistakes there. So that's why I encourage double checking. Usually I find the mistake the next day when like things don't add up or things like that. But we're looking at the prizes here. Let's go ahead and put Jared Jackson in. Let's live update the sheet as we go here. Jared Jackson wins $43. And that is not paid yet, but I will pay him as soon as we finish taping this. I'll send out your daily prizes when you win them on the day, folks. So $50 to enter, but you win a daily prize and you almost got your money back. And then the grand prize, $450, $300, $150, and $100. So you can double your money for 4th place. So a lot to play for, lots of fun. Don't give and even if you start to fall behind down low in the leaderboard, play, hope to get a daily prize and at least win your money back. So good for Jared up top. If we look, there's lots of there's a big tie at 4.9. A lot of people had like the same 2 players there. 868, same thing. There's other ties. There's a tie at 4.5. Shout out to Michael Burke. And I love to give shout outs whenever I do these things. This is the first time I've done this in video form. I used to do like a written write-up every day and send this out, but basically because I'm old and tired, I don't have time to sit and write anymore. So
so we have this for. That's what this is for.
Yeah, quick video. Yeah, so shout out to Burke, -2 points. He managed to pick. Oh, wait, no, he's not the one. So Burke had Moises Caicedo, who was low point, and then the Qatari goalie was a -4.
Disaster. Just not his day today.
Not his day at all. But I think it was Cheryl Hahn. Shout out to Cheryl Hahn, who somehow found a way to pick 2 negative scores in the day.
Wow.
So Karim Boudioff, the Qatari center defensive mid, scored a -0.68, and Jose Cifuentes for Ecuador, a -0.9. I was surprised Cifuentes didn't start either. Cifuentes is a guy who's like gotten a lot of pub for like going to a big 5 league in Europe. Even the Premier League has looked at this guy. So it was strange to me to see him sitting, but a lot of times what you find in the World Cup, and you tell me if you found this to be true or not, even younger talented guys that like their clubs like play the clubs play the kids, to get them experience and stuff. in the World Cup, managers tend to lean older on the roster. They'll lean with
Sure.
guys they know, and that's
Yep.
why you see a guy like Jason Mendez and Moises Caicedo playing in the center, just because they have more caps, they have more experience playing together for Ecuador. Even though I would say Cifuentes is a better player than Jason Mendez, not even close, and he's probably better than Caicedo. I think Franco's better than Mendez. I think Franco at his best is better than Caicedo played today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but those young guys, the young guys don't get in.
Yeah,
It's a
but
World
that's
Cup
your
thing.
point. I mean, that you kind of answered it as well, is the experience and kind of what it took to
Mhm.
get to this World Cup. You know, this isn't a one cycle qualification. Yes, of course, it is how you got here, literally how you got your ticket. But for some of these clubs and countries, you know, like you mentioned, it's a process. You know, Qatar put 12 years into just this game today. You
Right.
know, the United States has put 8 years into tomorrow. You know, so there is obviously not all the guys are going to cross across that time frame, but if you are there, if you've made it and you've kind of gone through the gauntlet, you know, you're going to get a little bit more of a opening match nod than some of the younger kids that, you know, maybe you save them for when you need a moment of flash or you need something a little bit later in the tournament. That's kind of what they're going to be beneficial for. So yeah, I think earlier on you're going to see it across all all the countries, you know, a little bit more conservative lineups, especially the first two games. I would say maybe that third game where you have to go get a win or you know you have to get a point, you're going to change that lineup a little bit. So yeah, I would
Right.
definitely agree with you. That first couple games are going to be more of those experienced players that managers and federations trust or experience over time. So flash in the pan for some of these guys today, but you know, a guy like
Yeah.
Enner Valencia, a well-established, you know, striker. Could Jared Jackson be onto something? Who knows?
Well,
Who knows?
here's the problem though. Enner took a bad, like sort of a hyperextended knee at
Yep.
the end of the first half. He came out and started the second half, but then he subbed off in around the 70th minute,
Yep.
75th, right? So I'm not sure Enner's going to be ready to go for the rest of the tournament. So we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
So yeah, good. Glad you got your win there, Jared Tugford, to get your most of your entry fee back. Rounding out the top 10, we got Coleman, who needs to get the roster. John McCann, a lifetime player of this pool. He's played it every year that we've done it. Chris Worley, the man. Sebi Charita's in there for the round out the top 5. My college roommate, Austin Street, in 6th. Vinny Cash, the legend, best photographer in New York, in 7th. More fantasy buddies, Daniel Culp and Shane Shapansky. And then there's little old me down tied for 10th place. Yeah, well, I guess tied for 9th place, technically. Rachel Hayes, friend of the show, clocking in at 9.1. Rachel leads after one. Rachel is winning the Hayes household war, 9.1 to 6.56. So
I have a
it's all
feeling
about the games within the games.
still be there as that goes. You know, I think
Yeah.
Rachel will always lead that household, so I think that'll be
We'll
fine.
see, Rachel has a good team. Rachel knows how to
Oh, yeah.
how to play this pool.
She
She's
played
done
it
it
what last
before.
time too? You said so.
Yep. Some Charlotte FC people in the mix. Jess Charman, thank you so much for signing up. All
So
these
great to
people.
talk with her the
Level
other
Up
day.
Luke is in the house. Yeah. Some of these folks are some of my best friends going back to middle school, high school, and then others are new acquaintances that I am just getting to know. So that's part of why I love doing the pool, and it's great. It's only going to get better from here. It's a lot of fun. I've never had a bad review. Everybody raves. The one time I didn't do it, I took Euro 2020 off and didn't do the pool, and everyone was pissed. They were like, "Why didn't you do the pool?" So, but I've been doing this since 2010, I think. So, really fun. So, look forward to talking about this pool, making videos about the pool throughout the whole tournament. It's going to be great. You did mention the United States. Let's take a couple minutes real quick and just talk about the U.S. game.
They
It's
play.
coming up Monday.
They have a big game. They play soon. When are they playing?
Man, the Welsh, dude, the freaking Welsh are going to come in and try to take our cookie. I don't
Hey,
know. What do you think?
Don't sleep on the Welsh. I mean, 50 years
I'm
since their
sleeping.
last appearance in the World Cup, too. They're going to be coming out
I
firing
am,
on all
I
sides.
am,
Too.
I am passed out on the Welsh, bro. I don't think anything. I think if we lose, if we don't win, even a draw is unacceptable for me tomorrow. We have to go out and get the 3 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with the need for the result. I don't necessarily feel like it's that much of a necessity, but I understand where you're coming from. I think a draw tomorrow, and I think you get
Well,
a
then
draw.
where are you? So you understand where I'm coming from, but you're not
Yeah,
there. So
because I think
why aren't you there?
I think 5 points gets them through, right? So a draw versus Wales, a draw versus England, and a win versus Iran, and I think they advance, right? So do they need a win
You're
tomorrow?
right.
Do
I'm
they
not going to
really
deny
need a win?
that.
No. But do we want to win to kind of like make that emphatic stamp that Wales is Wales?
I'm just talking about how bad the Welsh
No, I know,
team
and
is.
that's what I'm saying.
That's
I
my
think
thing. If
everyone
we go
thinks
to
that we need a win, but I think if we end up with a draw
like
tomorrow, it's not the end of the world either.
right, who intimidates you here? But you know, the ghost of Gareth Bale, Kiefer Moore sucks. Daniel James is a washout. Brennan Johnson's too young.
I
Joe
mean,
Allen's 75 years old. You know,
we
I'm not, Harry
we
Wilson
kind of
sucks.
just
Like,
we kind of just brush over these guys, but I mean, they are, they're Premier League players. Gareth Bale is a legend, in many ways and respects.
yeah, I mean, Nico Williams,
I
I
mean,
get it.
it's
Ethan
it's
Epidue
not a
is
poor
good.
squad. I mean, yes, it's not a great
They just don't
squad,
intimidate
but
me.
no, they don't. But Kiefer Moore, if you watch, Bournemouth on a week to week basis in the Premier League, he's a big forward that's going to put some presence in that against our defenders. And, he gets a ball in the box and boom, 1-0. Daniel James down the wing with some speed, again, crosses the ball. Gareth Bale, I'm just saying it's not as simple a game tomorrow as we've all made it sound. I think it's a potential win, but I don't think it's a lock for a W just because it's Wales. I think Wales will have something to say about that.
Goals change games, as they say. Goals change games. So an early goal either way could
100%.
start
100%.
throwing all the matchup stuff out the window, obviously.
And
for sure,
and a big announcement from the squad as well, with Tyler Adams being the captain for tomorrow, getting the armband. I mean, not too much of a surprise, but hey, still kind of it's a moment. He's going to be representing us on the field as that captain, and a lot of other things as we've all talked about, from off the field issues with this tournament, what as the nation that we represent, starting potential lineup that you have here, which is definitely tentative, but a big day announcement, and it's a big moment to have that armband to represent and be the captain of the country on the biggest stage for sure. And surprising,
do you think it's
Christian
weird that it's
didn't
not Pulisic as captain?
I was going to say, I think it's a little surprising that Christian didn't get it, but I don't know. We've talked about it on this show where I don't know how much of attention he wants. I don't know if he wants to have all that pressure of being the captain. I think he's comfortable having Tyler be the captain, or even Weston, to be honest, and then kind of letting him just do what he wants to do. But that's for the media. Everyone
and
else
if you think about, like, of the midfielders and the forwards, if you look at like the front two lines of that group of six, I think it'll be Reyna instead of Aronson here, and I'm not 100% sure that Ferreira starts either, but he probably does. But of the attacking line, like, who would you count on to play 90 minutes more than Tyler Adams out of all these guys? Like anyone in here is a sub candidate for me except Tyler Adams. So that from that point of view makes sense in terms of continuity and the one guy they expect to play every single minute of this tournament. And Pulisic, I think I would be surprised if Pulisic was ever an early sub, but not shocked, I guess.
Agreed. And especially up front, the way they're going to play, forwards are going to be interchanged. We have enough talent up front. Another guy I would say that could have been a consistent 90-minute player is Weston McKennie. Obviously, a huge presence in the locker room. One of the best players in Italian football, just by being associated with Juventus, maybe not necessarily on the field, but by being there. Again, a player that has shined and shown off in the U.S. side of things. So yeah, another guy that you could have said was a captain, but Tyler Adams and or Weston McKennie are both good choices for the captaincy. I don't think CP is going to be out there every minute for the entire tournament, like you said.
We'll see. I'm going to, unfortunately for this one, just trying to keep an eye on it as my work duties get in the way a little bit, unfortunately. But what's your
move? Ask if you guys have anything planned, or if you're going to be working?
Nah, yeah. Charlotte FC is hosting a watch party that I would really love to go to, but I just can't quite skip out. As much as I'd love to just skip work and go to a World Cup watch party, I don't quite make enough money to do that just yet, so we'll see. Yeah.
And I saw it's at Ramir Park, right?
What is your plan?
Sorry.
Yeah, Romare Bearden.
Yeah. I thought they would do it. We've talked about it we've talked about it for years about they should have done it in the alleyway of French Quarter and just had the screen playing off the back wall there. I still wish they would do that.
Yeah.
I think that would be such a cool vibe just to have everyone in that space. It would be tight and people, hooligans could have their windows open and Valhalla could be serving now, beer and stuff like that. It would just be a really cool environment. But in the park is pretty close by. I'm sure the fans will trickle into some of our favorite watering holes in Charlotte area for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, your speech was kind of breaking up a little bit there, which I'm going to take as a cue that I need to go reset my modem, or maybe you do. But the internet connection is lagging, so let's wrap this thing up. Look forward to watching the U.S. tomorrow. Everyone who participated in the pool, it's only going to get better from here. The World Cup is upon us, and it's for the crown, baby.
See you tomorrow, guys.